All right, good evening, everyone. Good evening. Are you able to hear me? If you can hear me, please type CAN so that I know that you guys can hear me and we can get started really soon, because tonight I'm going to share with you the exact trade that I'm going to do later when the market is open. All right, so are you guys excited? If you are excited and you can hear me, please type CAN. All right, so while I'm waiting for some of your guys comments, okay, the reason why I'm doing, all right, thanks Henry, thanks for letting me know. And the reason why I'm doing like a ETF real trade is because if you have attended my workshop last weekend, right, I actually covered a lot more in depth into ETF, exactly what criteria you should be looking at, what kind of ETF is good for investment. And yeah, if you have missed it, so tonight I'm just going to do a very brief recap. But if you do want the full recording, I also have this recording for you. All right, so in the end I will share with you exactly how you can get my recording. So if you like my gift, right, please type GIFT, please type gift, okay, so that I know that for those who missed out, this is the time for you to get a gift, because you can't find this workshop in the Next Level All-Star Facebook group anymore. So since it's my recording, I decided to give it to you complimentary as well. All right, music due to work, Charlene. All right, it's okay. So what's going to happen is after tonight's workshop, okay, this is not considered workshop but like a sharing, okay, after tonight's sharing, okay, do go and get my gift, and so that you can watch the two hours, okay, 2 full hours recording, all right, in at your own pace. All right, so what did I cover during my 2 hours workshop? I really covered in depth exactly how can you invest in ETF very safely, and the exact criteria. There are so many other criteria that you should be looking at. So tonight I'm not going to go through the criteria, but yeah, it's good that for you to go and review it so that you also know the criteria by yourself. All right, so exactly how to evaluate the ETF. Is this a good time to enter right now? And what are some of the ETF that I have actually invested so far that have garnered me about 10 to 20% return within less than 1 year. And in my opinion, if you have ETF that perform 10 to 20% in 1 year, to me, I consider it to be a very good investment, because most of the time, if you put your money in the bank, how much do you get? Okay, maybe like less than 1%, but ETF is relatively a much more safer investment compared to investing in individual stocks. All right, so wow, I can see a lot of you want a gift. All right, so do stay till the end so that I will share with you the gift. Okay, so before I go into exact real trade that I'm going to do, right, I'm just going to give a very quick recap to those who have not attended my workshop. Exactly what is ETF and why do you invest, and what's the reason for me to invest in ETF. All right, so yeah, a very good a very generic way of understanding ETF is basically ETF stands for exchange traded fund. So it's a fund that you can buy and sell on the stock market. So it's really liquid. And what does the fund entail? It actually entail a lot of businesses depending on the portfolio of the fund. So different ETF tracks different companies. Sometimes they even track commodities. But I'm just going to focus on ETF that track companies, because at the end of the day, we want to be a business collector. All right. If you understand what does the meaning of business collector is, like, because the company is so good, you want to become business owner for them in the long run and for the long time, right? So that's why we want to become business collector. But sometimes if you talk about like S&P 500, which is like an ETF that like many people know, right? Basically, it's an index that tracks like 500 top companies in US. So if you buy into S&P 500, literally it means that you are investing in 500 companies at one go, okay, without spending a lot of money. The reason is because ETF, you just buy one share. In S&P 500 now, it's about $300 over. So you spend about $300 over per share, then you can get to invest in all these beautiful companies like Google, Visa, Starbucks, and everything, right? So that is the beauty of ETF. All right. So exactly what am I going to buy tonight? I also want to share with you. So if you remember, during my ETF workshop, I actually shared three, right? I shared actually three very good ETF that I am currently investing. And of course, whatever that I'm going to share tonight, it's really for education purposes, all right? And the reason why we want to highlight that it's education is because it's not a buy or sell recommendation. Everything information that I share with you here is really, we hope that from your from understanding our analogy, our thought process, you can become a much more independent investor so that you can invest for yourself as well, okay? If you understand the importance of education, please type EDU, okay? Please type education. And I really hope that through all this sharing that we do in NLA, you guys get educated and start taking the action wisely, all right? So what is the ETF that I'm going to buy tonight when the market open? I'm going to do sound effect by myself. Haha. Okay, the first one, okay, I talk about gaming ETF. Okay, tonight, okay, I'm just going to share with you right now. I'm going to give you three choice, all right? So out of these three choice, do let me know which one do you think is a better investment right now. So let's do a very interactive discussion and see whether you guys think the same page as me, okay? Now I'm going to present you three choice. You let me know which one do you think is a better investment. So the first one is a gaming ETF. The gaming ETF is because I as a person really love to play games. If you've been following me on my Telegram or following me on my Facebook page, I share about like as an investor, how do you generate investing ideas really through your everyday life, right? So for myself, because I love to play game, recently I played this game created by Nintendo, which is called the Ring Fit, right? So you hold this ring and you get to kill monster while you are exercising. Okay, if you have played this game before, please type Ring Fit. Do let me know if you're also like a Ring Fit fan like me. For myself, I really love to exercise, and now I can play games and exercise at the same time. I thought it was a very, very good game to be designed by Nintendo. But of course, I really don't want to invest in one single company that is designing games, because gaming is a very, very competitive industry. That's why I do want to diversify my risk and just invest in multiple good gaming companies that have potential to grow over the long run. So that's why one of the ETF that I have personally invested before till now, I still hold on to them, but I have not added position yet. Maybe later you let me know whether do you think it's a good choice to add. Okay, it's called Hero. Okay, HERO. The stock really has picked up a lot ever since I invested. I only invested since like June this year, so it's like 2 months time. And the reason why I decided to invest in Hero is because you can see it tracks a lot of different gaming companies, right? Like C Limited, or Nvidia, which do the graphic card for the games, right? And then after that, Activision Blizzard, NetEase. Okay, some of the companies I don't really know, but I think it's okay because in general, I know that all these companies produce games, including Nintendo's as well. So I buy them through this ETF called HERO. So when I first bought it, it was about $20. Today, it's about 26. Okay, yesterday. So it's about 25% in 2 months. Which, what do you think? Okay, what do you think? 25% in 2 months. Do you think it's consider a good return? If you think it's considered a good return, please type 25%. All right. So to me, I felt that it was a very good return, because if you talk about investing in stocks, sometimes individual companies that you invest, you probably can't even get 25% in 2 months. And now I'm actually owning a portfolio of gaming companies that have much more potential, because people are playing more games nowadays due to COVID situation, right? So yeah, I'm willing to own it long term, all right? So that is the first reason why I invested in Hero. But tonight, am I going to invest in Hero again? Let's see, okay? So the second ETF that I talk about, okay, and I personally have also invested in is China, okay? It's a China ETF. And we actually talked about one of the China ETF called FXI, right, earlier in my ETF workshop. But the ETF that I personally invested in to the China market is not through FXI. I actually invested through a Hong Kong listed, basically it's listed in the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. It's called 3169. This is an ETF actually created by Vanguard, right? So it tracks over 800 companies in China. And the reason why I want to invest in this in this sector is because I believe that China has a long way to go. Okay, do you believe that China will have much more room to grow in the next 10 years? If you do, right, then, well, maybe China can be a very, very good ETF that you can consider to add into your portfolio. And you can see some of the stocks like Alibaba, Tencent, super strong company. And another reason I invested is because there's Guizhou Maotai. A lot of ETF in general, I found didn't have Guizhou Maotai, but recently I found one that is listed in the US stock exchange that has Guizhou Maotai as well. So, well, I'm still balancing out, but in my opinion, I think 3169, it's a very diversified 800 over companies in China, right? So when I first bought it, actually I bought it way back then. Okay, if you can see that, I actually bought it in October 2019, which is during that period of time. If you still remember Hong Kong, what happened? Okay, Hong Kong, every day they were fighting, right? They were having riot. They were having between the police as well as the civilians. There was a lot of movement ongoing. So China, even though it's happening within Hong Kong, but as a result, the Hong Kong stock market really tanked, right? So I bought it when it really tanked, because I thought that, hey, actually at the end of the day, China is still doing very, very well. Maybe just Hong Kong is now in trouble. I believe that the trouble will sooner or later will be over. And on top of that, many of businesses that was actually tracked by this ETF, also actually majority of the revenue and the operation are in China. So they don't really affect that much. So that's why I bought it. So you can see when I bought it, right, it didn't go very well at first. It was just ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. And actually it dropped even further during this year, during the COVID-19 situation. And that's when I just decided to actually add more positions along the way. So I added actually 4 times. So in total, I added 4 positions. And that's how in general, my average price that I purchased these ETF, it's about $8 and about 50 cents, $8.40. So let's consider 32% return in 9 months, which I think also not too bad, okay? So that's the second ETF I have invested in, right? So now I'm going to present to you the third ETF, all right? So, dun-dun-dun. So what is this? It has to do with machine guns, fighter jets, and all these things that I am in general not familiar with, because I am a very normal civilian. But the reason why I decide to invest in a defense ETF is because I believe that I also observed that the defense budget has been increasing over the years. It has been generally really going up the uptrend. And one of the investors, if you have been following him, his name is Pete. Okay, so Pete is an investor I truly admire a lot. He's so good in his analysis, and in fact, he's from Air Force. So that's why when he shared with me this defense industry, he shared with me some of the companies that are good companies inside this defense industry. I was like, wow, it's really amazing. But because I, as a normal civilian, don't quite understand the defense industry in general, I was like, hey, if I don't understand particular companies, why not I just invest in a sector, right? So I decided to invest in a defense ETF, which is called XAR. All right. So XAR, these are the companies that are tracking, and I do understand some of the I did heard of some of the companies like Lockheed Martin, General Dynamics, Northrop, all these different companies that really produce weapons, produce fighter jets. So I decided to buy into this ETF, and when I bought it, it was about $84, okay, about $84. So I bought it in June as well, so just about 1 month plus ago. And it didn't really performing very well. So this is a third ETF I have invested in so far. So now I want to know, for your opinion, what do you think? So these 3 ETFs that I have invested in so far, 2 of them actually gave me really pretty decent return, right? So on the other hand, the ETF that is on the defense side was performing okay. It didn't drop, okay, but just okay, generally just a bit, increased by a little bit. So which one will you choose? If you were me, you want to consider to reinvest part of your portfolio again into buying an ETF, which one would you choose? Okay, do let me know. While I'm just going to look through, okay, type down your answer. If you are going to choose gaming, please type game. If you want to choose China, please type China. Or if you're choosing defense, please type defense. All right, so because I'm very, very excited to see what are your thought process, and let's see whether we are aligned in any way. All right, so Chin is asking, Chloe, you will hold hero long term. Then gaming sector is only benefiting because we are in the COVID situation. We are stuck at home. So and you believe that this situation will be resolved in the next few months. So after that, people will probably move away. So this is more like a COVID play or a long term play. Yeah, okay, Chin, I do agree that because of this COVID situation right now, people are playing more games. They are spending more time on game. I do believe because of COVID situation, it does have a positive impact to the industry in general. But what do you think in the long term? Just talk about long term. Do you think gaming is going to become stronger and stronger? Do you think that people will actually continue to play more games because people love to have fun, they love to experience, and they really love entertainment? If you believe so, then that's my opinion. I believe that in the long run, no matter how the industry is going to revolve, okay, games will be part and parcel of many people's life. Okay, especially people who go through the teenage years, they just like to play games. Okay, even when they enter the adult age, some people, especially guys, they still love to play games. So this is the things that I observe. So that's why I'm willing to invest it long term. Right. So okay, I'm going to see some of your answer here. Okay, a lot of people write China. Okay, and gaming ETF looks interesting. All right, thanks. Okay, some of you write XAR. Some of you write defense. Some gaming. Okay, so my thought process, right, is actually, if you talk about long term, right, I think China ETF has really a long way to go, especially the PE ratio. I actually shared about the PE ratio. The PE ratio of the China now is currently cheaper. In terms of the PE, is less than 15. Okay, but tonight, in fact, I'm not going to invest in China tonight. And I will share with you a reason later on. It has to do slightly more on the technical side of house, but before I share with you my thought process, I also want you to really share out this video so that you can help more people along the way, because I believe that whatever content that we are sharing, it can really help people if people are willing to listen and come and learn and implement it with wise decisions. And that's why the next level team is really focusing on the mission of education and help us share this video. We want to impart impact, right, as many lives as possible. But now we have 200 people over watching. Just help me click the share button. Half of you click, you will have impacted more than 100 lives. If you have 200 people clicking at the same time, wow, then you have impacted 200 lives. All right, so do share out to your timeline, and because we really have a lot of content to share. So if you have shared, please type SHARD. All right, I'm just going to check how many people have shared it. And if you have more than 100 shares, then I am going to review to you my thought process. Okay, so and by the way, that thought process, right, the reason why I don't decide to invest in China right now, it didn't cover in my slides. So I wanted to share with you, but hey, help me share out this post. All right, so if you have shared, please let me know, type shared, so that I know that you guys are ready to move on to understand why do I decide to invest in actually defense ETF tonight, okay, when the market is open. Okay, so I can see, wow, thanks. I can see some of you have shared. Thanks so much. Thanks. Yes, thanks. All right, so now what it's going to happen is I'm going to share with you exact thought process why I am not going to invest in China ETF at the moment. I still believe that it's still a very, very good long-term play. But let's just talk about the ETF that I have personally looked at. Okay, it's called 3169, right? So very easy. Okay, wait, let me share my screen. Okay, you are unable to see my share screen right now. Hold on. Okay, StreamYard. I'm going to remove it and share screen again. Oh, how am I supposed to? That's weird. Wait, stop screen? No, full screen? Hey, that's so weird. Hey, okay, I'm not very good at technical stuff. So apparently I don't know why I cannot share my screen in terms of my desktop so that you can see my browser. That is so weird. Okay, wait. I'm just going to remove it. Remove. And how do I remove? Edit name, stop screen, and share screen again. Okay, great. I solved it. All right, so this is slightly more the technical side of house in terms of like really looking at chart, all right? So if you talk about 3169, okay, if you talk about 3169, right, this is the chart for 3169. Okay, so if you understand some technical analysis, right, you can see that it has really gone up quite a bit ever since actually the whole ETF started and ever since I invested in. So if you understand the notion of support and resistance, okay, you will see that actually if you talk about support, okay, very generic support will be here, right? So if the price hit the support level, it's very likely the price is going to increase, right? But if you talk about resistance means the ceiling. Oh, whenever it reach the ceiling, it's likely to fall back down. It's like because it reached the ceiling. So what do you think? If you talk about the price range right now, do you think it's at support or do you think it's at resistance? Right? Oh, am I sharing the screen? Yeah, okay. My screen is shared, right? So let me know, do you think it's reaching support or do you think it's reaching resistance? Okay? What does it look like to you? Okay, because to me, it's pretty obvious that it's at the resistance level, right? So very likely when you reach the resistance level from the technical analysis point of view, it's likely to come down a bit more before going back up. So I really want to wait for it to come down a bit so that I can invest with a better, higher chance of winning, a higher chance of, I should say, I can invest with a cheaper price so that I can buy more and grow my portfolio even more, right? Yeah, you guys are seeing it, it's seeing at resistance, right? So I don't want to invest during resistance if possible, right? So that's why I don't want to invest in this ETF at this moment, okay? So now I'm just going to share with you the exact reason from, this is the technical side of house, but if you talk about the fundamental analysis side of a house, right, which is why I decide to invest in defense ETF, it's also because firstly, it's a very, very defensive, yeah, this is not FXI, but FXI, it's pretty similar as well. If you go and look at the chart for FXI, it's also at the resistance level. So that's why I really want to wait a little bit more before I decide to enter any China ETF right now. Okay, so okay, only buy near moving average. Okay, Giselle is more familiar. Okay, so now let's talk about global spending on defense. Okay, we all know that every country spends quite a lot of money on defense. In fact, which country do you think that has the most money spent every single year? Okay, I'm talking about just last year. Okay, 2019. Okay, 2019. Which country do you think that spent most money on defense? Okay, now it's the Q&A time. Dun, dun, dun. Let me know. Type down your answer so that I can see that you guys are thinking together with me. All right. So actually, it's quite obvious, right? Which country do you think it spends the most money? It's the big brother, right? The big brother which is the US. Exactly, right? It's the US that's been spending a lot of money every single year. In fact, this is the amount of money that they spent, okay, just last year, okay, and followed by China, okay, So the second country that spent the most money is China. But you can see the difference. Okay, North Korea needs to catch up lah. I hope they don't really spend a lot of money on. I think North Korea is really like oh, I don't know what to say about this country, but yeah, China is the second country that spent a lot of money, but you can see that the gap between the way that US spend and China spend, it's so different. It's like 3 times and close to 3 times of China's spending. And then it comes to Saudi Arabia, India, and United Kingdom. Okay, Bowen thing is SG. Okay, SG, right? Singapore, our country also spend money on defense, right? Which rank do you think we are? Okay, Singapore, out of there are close to 180 countries in the world, right? Yeah, close to 180 countries in the world. Which ranking, how do you think Singapore is at? Okay, please do not look down on our Singapore, okay? Actually, I believe most of you are very, very proud of Singapore. I'm also very proud of Singapore. And in fact, actually, we spend considerably higher, a lot higher compared to other countries in terms of us being so small, okay? In fact, we actually are ranking on number 26. Yeah, okay, you're very, very close, Brandon, very close. We are number 26. In fact, we are actually spending more than Malaysia, spending more than Indonesia as well, spend more than our neighboring countries, even though our size is much smaller compared to the rest of the world. Number 9, wow, Bowen. We got spent so much money. Okay lah. We did spend a lot. Okay, wow, give us the heart shape. Okay, but we are number 26. Okay, which is not too bad as well. Okay, number 26. So that's for Singapore. And why do we invest in the defense sector? That I think it's a very, very good consideration to be added into your portfolio. It's because in general, right, out of like so many years of how country develop, you can see they really spend more and more money. It's like basically an uptrend, right? You can see, like, be it it's America, be it Asia, or be it Europe, the spending just increase over time. And these are the past like 30 years over. In general, it's uptrend. Not every year increasing, but in general, it's an uptrend, right? And this is according to Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, right? So, and according to this institute, right, they also say that the recent growth, you can see that actually recently the US actually spent more money compared to a few years ago. And it's because the recent growth in US military spending is also largely based on the perceived return to competition between the great power. Okay, so which country is US trying to fight? It's China, right? And you can see that China is actually the second to the US, and they are really trying to catch up in terms of the economy power as well as the defense power. Because when you are the big giant, you really want to make sure that not only on the economy side, you want to make sure your military side is also, like you just don't come and bully me, don't come and gajao me, because I can fight back. Once you demonstrate that power, it just gives you more say in whatever things that you do, right? So it's how country play between each other, the competition. So that's why US is spending more money in recent years, because they really don't want their position to be taken over by China as well. So if you zoom into US, right, from 2000 to 2019, you can see there was a decrease from from about 2008, 2009, there was an increase, right? Then from 2011 onwards, it actually slightly decreased over a few years before actually going back, increasing these few years. And the reason why was because that few years, right, US also understand that, hey, they are really spending a bit too much money on the defense side, and the economy also needs to catch up along the way. So that's why they decided to cut back a bit, right? But 2019, December last year, they actually published an article for Budget 2020. The amount of money that they are going to spend from the US side, okay, on the defense will be $738 billion. All right. But if you can see, from 2019, okay, I'm showing you 2019, it's $718.69 billion. And 2018 actually is even lesser than this number. So these few years, they have been increasing. So from less than 700 million, they increased to over 700, to now actually to 738 billion. So the trend has been increasing. How how about this year, next year, okay? Because this is 2020. With the COVID situation right now, do you think US is going to cut its spending in terms of defense? What do you think? With the government really pumping a lot more money to help the businesses, helping the civilians with a lot of assistance packages and everything. Do you think the government is going to cut down on defense spending? What do you guys think? Let me know. Singapore, okay, one of the person said Singapore is the 5th highest debt of GDP too. Wow, I didn't know that. Okay, or some of you say no, okay, the US government is not going to cut on spending on defense. What about other people? Do you think that US is going to cut? Okay, so actually they have already published for you, maintain, okay? No cut, minimally maintain, right? Let's take a look. Actually, you guys are very, very close. Yes, okay, in fact, 2021, they already published it, okay? Trump, okay, they need to propose first. So they need to submit a proposal to the Congress before the Congress really pass the budget, pass the bill, right? But when Trump was proposing, right, they were proposing 740.5 billion for defense. Okay, so actually it's an increase, right? From 738 to 740. Okay, so it's like a slight increase while still maintaining the current amount of spend, right? So something was very funny was when they published it, right? When Trump actually finished the proposal, he submitted the proposal, right? The U.S. Secretary of Defense, Mark Esper, he actually said that like the Pentagon really needs a real increase about 3 to 5% per year, okay, in order to balance, in order to stay ahead. And I just thought, wow, they consider it to be modest, okay? That means they consider it to be like not really sufficient to really maintain the defense budget, and they actually wanted to increase more, but of course Trump decided to be 740 billion after the discussion and stuff, right? So the bill has not been passed yet, the budget has not been finalized yet. I think it's going to be finalized like October, okay? But this is their proposal right now. Even despite of the COVID situation right now, this is a proposal that they want to go ahead with the defense spending. So that's why I think in general, defense industry is a very, very defensive sector to invest in, because no matter how our economy perform over time, right, the government really don't want to sacrifice on this part, because if they sacrifice on this part, they are actually sacrificing a lot more than we civilians usually perceive on the surface. So that's why they really want to maintain on this power. So if you talk about, hey, if I want to invest in defense sector, right, what other ETF are there available apart from the ETF that I presented? So I'm just going to go through my thought process of exactly how I find defense ETF and certain reasons why I decide to invest in the current ETF that I'm currently invested in, and whether you guys can choose other alternative, okay, based on whatever that we find out tonight. All right, so let's check it out. Okay, so very, very simple. Just Google, okay? Anything, just ask Google. Just keywords like defense ETF, and Google will have like tons of website popping up, right? And usually I personally like either ETF.com, which is the ETF, the website that I also use for my own internal research. Alternatively, right, you can go for Investopedia, okay? Both of them are like really, really great websites for you to do research. So I'm just going to demonstrate to you. Let's say using the same process, okay? Let's just Google defense ETF, all right? So once you Google it, right? So I'm just going to zoom into top 3, okay? Top 3, because I also don't have time to look through all 7 of them. I think 3 is more than sufficient. So that's why I'm just going to zoom into this article, top 3 defense ETF. And in fact, okay, Investopedia show you which are the three and what are the certain performance they have right now. Okay, but as an investor, right, you don't want to invest in something because wow, the performance is very good right now, or for the past 5 years. You really want to make sure you are investing in something that are solid and over the next 5 to 10 years still have a lot of room for growth, right? And that's why don't look at the 5 year in return in general. I don't do that, but I'm just really looking here for research purposes. All right, so now let's take a look at the first one, which is PPA, and the second one is XAR, and the third one is ITA, right? So what I'm going to do is, hey, after I found out that wow, these three are the top 3 defense ETF provided by Investopedia, why not I need to do a much more in-depth research by myself? So how do I do in-depth research, right? Very, very simple. Is let's say use PPA as an example. PPA ETF.com. So this is exactly what I will do. Just Google PPA space ETF.com, right? So now you go to ETF.com to see what are the holdings inside this ETF and whether do you think it makes sense to you to invest. All right. So if you look at it, okay, PPA, it tracks market cap weighted index. Okay, involved in the defense, military, in sector. And if you go down to where are the companies that are currently being tracked under this ETF, just go down. Okay, go down a little bit. Yeah, okay, slightly more. Over here, okay. So you have Honeywell, okay, which I think has to do with the system. You have Lockheed Martin, Northrop, Boeing, Radian, all these companies that I've actually heard of before, like General Dynamics as well. So actually, in general, I think the portfolio constitution of these top 10, right? Usually I look at top 10 because top 10, it's more than sufficient to see how in general, right, how the portfolio is being structured. And in fact, the top 10 makes up to more than 55%. So it's really considered pretty significant, right? So what do you guys think? Do you think this portfolio is considered pretty good portfolio in terms of all these companies? You have heard of it before. You also know that they are strong companies in general, right? What do you think? If you think it's pretty good, please type GOD. Please type good. Okay, so this is one of the ETF. And let's take a look at the current PE ratio right now. Because when we invest, right, apart from knowing that, hey, it's a solid ETF or it's a solid investment, good investment, but how much is it right now? Is it at a reasonable price? Is it at fair value? All right. So let's take a look. Okay, you just have to go up a little bit. Okay, you can see. Okay, it's written here. All right. So in the workshop, I did mention that, hey, anything below 15 is considered undervalued. That means considered cheap, like in our layman definition, cheap. About 15 is about fair, right? Fair value. And slightly, if you go above 15, then it's considered on the more expensive side of house. So currently, the PE ratio is about 25. Okay, so what do you guys think? Do you think it's cheap? Do you think it's expensive? Or do you think it's fair? Okay, let me know. Okay, because that will determine whether you want to consider entering this ETF or not. Okay, so 25.4 P ratio. Okay, do you think it's expensive or cheap? Okay, so that is the first thing that you want to consider. All right, so that is always the first thing that I also want to consider as well, apart from the portfolio constitution. Okay, so while I'm waiting for you guys to come up with the answer, I'm just going to share with you the second one, which is XAR, right? So what's going to happen is very simple. I already Google it. Okay, XARETF.com, the same thing. If you go to below, that's when you can see the portfolio constitution as well. Yeah, okay, a lot of you say it's expensive because it's above 25, right? So these are the portfolio constitution. Some of the companies are also actually all of them are being tracked, just that the percentage constitution is different. So over here you have Lockheed Martin, you have Northrop, and other portfolio companies as well. So make up about 42%. Okay, so now let's take a look at the P ratio over here. Okay, so the P ratio of this is currently 21.94, about 22. Okay, so we know that it's still on the more expensive side of house. Okay, but it's slightly more undervalued compared to PPA just now. All right, so you agree? Okay, if you agree, right, please type agree, okay, so that I know that you understand. 22, okay, it's considered relatively expensive, but well, it's cheaper than PPA just now, right? Now, let's take a look at the next one, which is ITA, the last one, right? So ITA, it's the third ETF that also tracks defense. And if you see the constitution, it's very, very, you can see the it's quite imbalanced. You can see Boeing, it's 17%. Radion, it's also 17%. So if you add these two companies together, they are already more than 35% of the 35% of this portfolio. Okay, and followed by Lockheed, 8%. So if these three company increase in share price a lot, then this ETF, the share price will also be increased in tandem, like faster. But if these three prices drop down about more, then this ETF will also be affected. So the constitution make up to be 73% for the top 10 holdings. All right. So now let's take a look at the PE ratio of ITA. Okay, so ITA, where's the PE ratio? It's right here. Okay, so PE ratio, can you see? It's 26. All right. So what do you guys think? One is 25, one is 26, one is 22. Which one would you choose if you're talking about the three defense ETF that you can choose? Which one do you think will be your top choice? Okay, let me know. Type down your answer. Okay, I personally felt that, in my opinion, actually, I really love how PPA is being constituted, because the portfolio, when I look at it, right, I really felt that it's the companies that's top 10 are really companies that I have heard of them many times before. I also know that they are solid companies in general. I really love the constitution itself. Then for ITA, right? For ITA, I even though I do love some of the companies like Boeing and Lockheed Martin, but one thing that I'm not very comfortable with is their constitution. It's really pretty off balance, right? Two of these companies already made up to be 30%, over 30% of the whole defense sector. So which I felt that a little bit off balance, right? So okay, some of you guys like SAR, some like PPA, okay? On the other hand, XAR, even though some of the companies on the top 10 may not be the most familiar company that I've heard of, but in general, right, actually what something good about XAR, they are really tracking based on, okay, I will show you what do they mean by this. They are really in a very balanced tracking, okay? Okay, it takes a different approach, okay? Basically, how do I, okay, it tracks an equal weighted index. So it's really equal in terms of, it's basically just tracking the defense industry in general, and those companies being inside this ETF, right, they are almost equal weighted. So that is really how the defense industry is, and they're just tracking equally for all the companies being inside this portfolio. So it's a very, in my opinion, balanced way of tracking it compared to ITA, which is really a bit skewed. Okay, so my personal choice, like I mentioned earlier, I would, in this period of time, I would prefer XAR, because XAR, firstly, it's a balanced tracking, and secondly, the P ratio is a lot more reasonable, about 22, compared to the other two ETF, right? But if PPA does come down, the P ratio become more attractive, and actually I want to consider investing in PPA as well. Then ITA is not something that I am very comfortable with the slightly off balance tracking, so I would not consider in ITA, right? So that's my thought process. And I also want to show you another reason why I want to invest in XAR tonight. Okay, I'm talking about tonight. It's also because from the technical side of house, if you think about it, I'm just showing you. Okay, so let's just look further a little bit. Nowadays, it's very hard to drag. I don't know why they changed the. Okay, so if you can see from the technical point of view, do you think in general, if it just look very far back, right? Actually, out of so many years, right? Like, wow, since like so many years ago. Oh my God, ages. Since ages ago. What is this trend? Okay, what is this trend? Okay, do you think it's an uptrend, downtrend, or sideways? Okay, if you just look at from a broader perspective, what trend is this? Tell me. What trend? Okay, because I'm pretty sure you guys will know. Right away, you can tell, man, it's an uptrend for like so many years, because the defense industry in general just really keep on increasing budget, and that's why these companies keep on receiving more money every single year, right? So it's an uptrend, up, right? Then if you look at the up, right, occasionally it gives us a good opportunity to invest when it goes down for a while. Okay, so where are the points that go down? It went down here, over here. So it panned down, so it touches the 200 EMA. It also come down here, it touches again. And actually during March, man, wow, if you invested back then, you have made so much more money. But let's not talk about what happened in the past. Okay, past is already in the past. Okay, we just focus on right now. Okay, so right now, if you look at this, where do you think it's at? If you remember support and resistance, this is a support, okay? The 200 EMA line, if you know the technical analysis, right? 200 EMA is a very strong support, right? So the first point it touches here is a good support. This is the second point where it touches the EMA again. Pang! This is the third time. Man, out of so many years, how many times it touches the 200 EMA? Well, I can really barely count the points. 1, 2, 3. And we are on the third point. What do you think? Right? In my opinion, it's very, very strong support. In fact, it actually broke down to the support in the past, but then the prices pick up again, and now it's along this 200 EMA. So yeah, that's why I felt that this is a very, very, it could be a very good position, a time to enter, just based on technical analysis point of view. And then if you add in the fundamental analysis that we just mentioned, right, it's a very, very solid sector, an industry that has been growing, and the country are just going to spend more over time, because if they don't spend, other country will spend. And I don't want to lose out, because I don't want to lose my power as a big brother, okay, US, man. So that's why I just felt that, it's seriously no joke. Okay, so that's the reason why I'm going to actually invest again, add more position, adding on, and so that I can grow this portfolio, since it actually presents a good opportunity right now. So that is my thought process. Okay, and now I'm going to share with you exactly how you can get my ETF workshop for those who have missed it. But so far, are you guys really enjoying this? Do you find it's valuable? If you find it's useful, right, please type useful. Okay, so that next week I also have a lot more useful content to share with all of you. All right, so yeah, and actually Felicia, she actually talked about, I want to dissect into banking sector, some of the banks, in Singapore. Wow, especially with COVID situation, the interest rate dropping so much. Actually, bank also suffered quite a lot in terms of share price as well. So is this a good time to enter right now? Well, this is one of the topics I want to share with you. So if you find my information useful, thank you so much for finding it very, very useful. Thank you. So yeah, this is what some of the topics I want to cover more in the next few weeks. Because it's indeed a very, very good time to enter during COVID situation. So now I'm going to share with you exactly how are you going to get my ETF recordings with the notes, okay, with on that day, exactly my PPT I used to present, so that you can watch the recording and use the PPT for your reference as well. But before that, if you want to follow me on my social media, or if you want to join me in my Telegram channel, right, this is the place that you can go, bit.ly/business and invest. Okay, so I say it's more for business and investing for women, because as a lady, right, I really want to encourage more ladies to step up, to start investing and create your own economy for yourself, because it's really doable. But of course, whatever content that I'm sharing, actually, it doesn't base on gender. But I do want to use this chance to as a way to encourage more ladies to join this community. So I can see a lot of wonderful ladies down here. All right, so great to see all of you here. I believe some of you are already in my Telegram channel or maybe following my Facebook page already. So yeah, I will continue to share more investing tips on this my personal page and some investing psychology, because at the end of the day, you can really know all the stuff, but if you are unable to control your emotion, unable to control your psychology well, then you are also going to suffer quite a bit along the way. So I want to share with you my lessons, my mistakes along the way, and how I control my emotions as well. So do follow me. And now I'm going to share with you the links to go to my ETF workshop. All right. So ta-da! Thanks so much, Charlene. Thanks so much for typing out this for me. Arigatou gozaimasu. Okay, so this is a link, bit.ly/ETF with Chloe. So just click this link into your Google browser and you will be drive to this page, okay, where you just, yes, reserve my slot now, okay, even though it's over. But once you reserve your slot, we are going to send you an email. It's actually an automatic email that we have already created. So once you reserve your spot, register with your email address, then we are going to send you the recording, how you're going to access it to your mailbox. So I think that's the easiest way for you to receive every information. All right, so that's about it. Okay, thanks so much for everyone for tuning in. And for those who are in the RTI community, right, like the BOS community, the RTI community, in fact, I'm going live in 30 minutes time for the real live trade, okay, because market is not open yet, so I only wait until 9:30 p.m. To go live in RTI. So if you are already inside this community, do tune in during that time, and I will show you exactly what kind of positions I want to add in. Am I going to buy shares? Am I going to do options? And what are my thoughts in terms of, hey, my current portfolio right now, how should I structure it? So I will share more during half an hour later, 9:30. So with that, once again, thanks everyone for joining, and I really hope you guys enjoyed this session. And yeah, thanks so much, Thomas. All right, you guys have a great evening, and I will see you next week as well. All right, have a great weekend ahead. Bye guys. Bye.